What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here for 1077 The Bone. And joining me also for 1077 The Bone is my partner in crime from various movie screenings. And joining me for another movie review is Dennis Willis. How's it going, man?
Hey. We're going to assume that everybody saw the non-spoiler version and they're just here for the good stuff right now.
Yes, exactly. So if you couldn't tell already from the labeling, the title of this movie, or excuse me, this video on YouTube or the podcast version, the audio of this, yes, this is our Superman review, spoiler review. So if you're listening to this right now, first off, pause it if you've not seen the movie yet. Go to your local movie theater, see the brand new James Gunn Superman, watch it, and then come back and listen to us because we're going to talk about a lot of the big moments happen in this movie, the spoiler stuff. And so we won't ruin your experience. So please pause your phone, wherever you're listening to us right now, go see the movie, then come back and listen to us. Or hey, if you're listening to this after watching or listening to our non-spoiler review, welcome. Thank you for joining us once again. So Dennis, wow. You know, it's been a couple of days now since we've seen Superman here in the Bay Area where you and I are based out of. And I'm still on a high, man. Just how much fun I had seeing this movie. And there's so much like comic book related stuff in this movie. I'm like, whoa, they did that. I can't believe they did that part of the movie. That's so cool. And, you know, one thing I think a lot of people are talking about this movie is Crypto, the dog, and his involvement in this movie. He's in the trailers. So he is a big part of this movie. The character Crypto is from the comics. He is, if I remember correctly, it is Supergirl's dog that Superman watches. James Gunn being truthful to the comic book lore and canon, come to find out it is Supergirl's dog who shows up at the end.
Yeah.
A hot mess, a drunk. What
that
your
was
thoughts
actually,
on
I laughed so hard at that. I thought that was fantastic. It's like, what a way to set up that character, you know? And she shows up and Superman even says like, she parties on other planets with red suns because she can't get drunk on this one. And I'm like, oh, I'm in. Like sorority girl, Supergirl. Okay. All right.
And
hilarious.
And it justifies the relationship with Superman and Crypto.
Sure.
Like Superman and Crypto, like they get along, but like Crypto is such a hot mess himself. Like the dog's all over the place. He's not the most obedient animal. Doesn't pay attention to everything. He's not well trained, so he kind of does whatever he wants. Superman does get a little frustrated with that. Have we seen in the commercials and stuff? The dog doesn't listen to him all the time, so they do have kind of like a butting of heads relationship. But yeah, that's not necessarily his dog. He's just flat out in the beginning. He's just watching it for someone else, and then come to find out it was Supergirl who does come and get the dog at the end. So it was cool seeing that. So I wonder though, moving forward for future movies, is Crypto only going to appear in Supergirl movies, or this was a one and done with Superman? Like I'm just kind of curious.
Sure, any chance they have to sell Crypto dog or dolls, they're gonna, you know.
I know. I seen what was that, Walmart the other day? They already have like in the dog section like Crypto Superman related stuff, like just the marketing already. It's all over the place there. So. But yeah, Crypto was a lot of fun. Just as a superhero dog, the dog was.
There was times though. I mean, if we're
it was an ally.
If we're gonna get spoilery, okay, all right. Where do you want to start? Because again, liked it. I liked it a lot. I'll see it again. I'll probably own it. There was things about this movie that drove me insane, and I'm just like, why did they do that? Like we talked about the Lex arc, for example.
Okay.
And I want to dive into that because I think the Crypto is kind of a part of the same mentality that gave us this. So Lex Luthor, brilliant, billionaire, a bit petulant, somehow tied into the government. I know this is all sounding familiar, but my problem is that you set this character up in such an interesting way. But then I think the script is the worst thing about this movie. And because it's too convenient in some places. Like, you know, it's like, oh, well, we don't have kryptonite, but we found a way around that. Let's just have this guy manufacture kryptonite. Done. Okay, cool. Now, you know, Lex is like a coach on the sidelines going, A1, whatever. And he's like, doing, like forecasting all of these punches and
It's like a video game.
memorized Superman's playbook. Okay, well, this is AI time, isn't it? Why couldn't we have, the clone just know intuitively what he's going to be doing, as opposed to weaken the Luthor character by having him call out stuff all the time? And where are the freaking cameras? It's like, why every single time he's like, do this, and then they do that, and then they end up in a baseball field fighting. Here's a camera in Superman's face. I'm like, can you lose the monitors, please?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do something else with the Luthor character? And in the end, they didn't. He was in that big floating thing with these 40 stern-faced, crew.
Staff, yeah.
The whole movie, when he wasn't trying to manipulate the government at the beginning. And I'm like, total wasted character. Totally was. Nicholas Hoult was great, but I don't like what they did with him. Too convenient, had too much information at his disposal, and not enough getting into, stuff.
With that, though, with this portrayal of Lex Luthor, one issue I had was I felt at times he came off a little too cartoony, little too, as they say, like, what's it, the old school villains messing
twirling his mustache,
twirling their mustache.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like, when they capture Superman and they're taking him to the interdimensional prison that Lex Luthor created, like, it shows, like, he is, like, sounds like the smartest guy in the world. Like, he's able to have his business. He's building all these weapons for other countries. He's building interdimensional prisons. He has teleportation capabilities. He's able to study Superman so much that he's created a strategic fighting combat, like what you said. He's yelling A1, B7. It was like playing Battleship. But the point being is, Ultraman, aka clone of Superman, was so dumb, the clone here, that he needs to tell what the clone to do. So he has all these commands. But yeah, it sounds like Battleship there. But when they capture Superman and they're taking him to his jail cell, he's revealing, like, his whole strategy to Superman. He's just flat out telling him everything. And to me, that comes off a little bit lazy as far as
monologuing. It's a kind of,
And I mean, Superman said, wait, why are you telling me all this? Oh, I'm not getting out of here. You're just going to kill me. That's why you're telling me all this. But it's almost, I'd rather have Lex physically act from his actions, show me what he's trying to do, instead of just flat out telling, just, he said monologue, explain everything. I was like, that's just kind of lazy. It's like, I'd rather see from your actions. And that was something else I didn't want to get into in a non-spoiler stuff, but Superman had all these different battles or situations he was caught up in. The big, oh my God, what they called it? The
kaiju thing.
Yeah. Like, we've seen in the trailers, but, like, I almost wonder if they took that whole kaiju scene out of this movie, that extra 10, 15 minutes could have been used for character building. Case in point, Lex Luthor, as far as what, like, the thing with this movie, we talked about it, a non-spoiler. If this felt like a sequel, as far as it just jumps right in with all these characters established, all these relationships are established, and you just got it's a moving, water stream. You just got to jump in, go with the flow. I wish we could have seen more. Why is Lex Luthor so pissed off at Superman? Now, granted, Lex Luthor, in his mind, he's like the perfect man. He's smart, good looking, has his own muscles, good shape, has hot women around him. He has a lot of money, successful. In his mind, he's the ultimate Superman. But he sees Superman, this guy, this alien who has, like, unlimited powers. He sees that as the biggest threat to him of, his ego. Right. So I get why Lex Luthor always hates Superman, but I wish they would have showed something. Maybe was there a specific moment or something that happened in these first 3 years of Superman's existence that set off Lex Luthor to be like, I need to stop this guy.
Well, I mean, back to real world stuff. Whenever these billionaires start fighting with each other, it's always because each one thinks they're the alpha. You know what I mean? And so, like, again, not to get real political in real life, but you see that flex. You see that somebody says something or commands a bit more headline than this person, and this person doesn't like it. So it ups the ante. And I almost see like the way he went after Superman, trying to destroy his reputation with social media. There, that should have been you're right. That should have been the result of this, whatever this was. Here's I'm doing this, but then Superman comes along, and people are talking about Superman now. If they had just planted that seed early, and then all of a sudden now he's out to get him. And the other thing I didn't like about the Lex thing is, and this is again a problem with the film, is there was too many inconsistencies. Like, for example, you mentioned the interdimensional prison. Cool idea. Cool execution. As soon as they introduced the big rift in the black hole, I'm like, oh my God, come on. You had a really interesting Phantom Zone kind of idea there, right? This. And so what happens? They capture Superman. They bring him to this place that's not of Earth. It's this interdimensional place. And they put him in the thing with the other dude, and he tells him his whole plan and then leaves. You mean all those cameras that are following him around on Earth, you couldn't leave one to spy on him in there? So when they start breaking out, they know. Like,
but as we saw in the movie, was it Miss Tessmacher, his girlfriend, surprisingly document all this stuff. They thought she was a total airhead who was just full of herself, taking selfies everywhere. But in reality, she was doing it as a way to get incriminating evidence on Lex Luthor. And then come to find out, her and Jimmy Olsen have a secret love relationship.
That was pretty damn funny. That was really good.
That was funny. And so she sent Jimmy Olsen all the photos and intel that she had on Lex Luthor, and then they used that to run a story on him to ruin his credibility at the end of the movie, which I do love. They're using the press to take down this billionaire. Cool. So it kind of gives me hope that media can still be a place to take down evil people at some point.
Keep hoping.
Yes. But yeah, Lex Luthor, I felt like there was also a lot of convenient stuff. Like, he had an answer for everything. Like, anything he needed, he had already. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite, or just the tech to make black holes. And now see that stuff, it seems very over the top. But then again, as I said before in the non-spoiler, you look at Superman animated series, like it's like a cartoon, like, any superhero cartoon, like you have these over top scenarios that are being played out, and it's a cartoon. I'm just going to go with it. So that's why I was like, okay, this is just in the live action form of that. So I'm just going to let it go. And this is a new universe for the DCU. Like, metahumans been around for 300 years. So, people are used to like metahumans being around them as part of their society. We're also got to, just roll with it that, this tech billionaire guy has everything around him that he needs. And he's able to do a lot of stuff that that people don't know about yet. It's just, I suspend a lot of disbelief because they're going all in on the over the top cartoony comic book aspect of the storytelling.
And that's fine. I mean, you go back to Guardians of the Galaxy, which I watched 2 days before I saw Superman.
Yeah.
And that set up a fantastical world, and there was all kinds of crazy new tech, and the whole world had its own logic to it. And there was backstory and mythology and all this stuff that just worked because it had a chance to breathe. It wasn't too much. Everything made sense. The planets made sense. The weird, living inside the big skull, nowhere. Everything was explained and paid off, and there wasn't, and I guess and that movie didn't do what I'm about to complain about. That movie was about getting the thing, the MacGuffin, the future, Infinity Stone. That's what the whole chase was about.
Yeah.
Which led us to the planet, which led us to trying to get the thing. But anytime the stakes are too big, anytime, I don't know, an interdimensional black hole rift is going to suck the planet into it, and Lex Luthor's like, fine, do it. Destroy the planet. I'll kill Superman too. I'm just like, dude, it's too big. It's too much. Personal stakes matter when you're watching a movie. It's like, how many times can you threaten to suck the earth into something? There was that one shot, was it Man of Steel, where they were terraforming the earth? There was actually a shot. Yeah. Here's the earth, right? Here's little earth with this big thing over it. I'm like, I'm out. I got nothing. It's just too much. You know,
Yeah.
you go back and look at Iron Man, you look at the original Superman, and why are those movies classic? Why do they resonate? It's because
Mm-hmm.
you give a shit about the people you're following. And when it
Mm-hmm.
gets too big and too fantastical and stuff just starts flying in, you're like, okay, I'm exhausted. So I understand why people are saying this movie's too cluttered. I felt the same way. I thought there was a great Superman movie in this somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you're right. Like, I guess for me, it felt like a lot of these individual battles or events, situations he was fighting his way out of.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, let me ask you this: do you think Superman was getting his ass beat too much in
I
this
was going to
movie?
bring that up to you. I saw a couple of reviews that went, super. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know. But the alternate is what they did in Zack Snyder and even Superman Returns, where he's so impenetrable.
Mm-hmm.
You go, well, that character really has nowhere to go, you know?
Yeah, he's just
So,
he's not relatable. Like, it's tough to make someone relatable when he's too powerful.
mhm,
And
mhm.
you're right. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel specifically, he was like a living god.
Yeah.
Unless you say his mom's name, or you tell, or he's or is the guy that's about to kill him has the same name
Or
of
like
his
Superman,
mom.
like we always think of bullets bouncing off of Superman. And I was
Yeah,
thinking about it, like, what would this slightly more, a vulnerable version of Superman, would bullets bounce off of this guy? He was bleeding in the opening shot,
hmm
when he was lying in the snow. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't really feel like I know this Superman yet, but I dug his performance. I dug the Boy Scout aspect of it. I loved David Cornsweet in this performance. I thought that I could watch this guy in whatever movie, and I just hope the movie's good.
that's what I was gonna say. Because so the beginning we see Superman get his ass handed to him. He's bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the snow. It's in the trailer as well. But that's coming off a battle with the Hammer of Bolivia. I think I'm pronouncing
Arabia,
that
I
right.
think,
Yeah.
yes.
Come to find out, I think a lot of people were speculating, okay, it must be a Superman clone under there
Mm.
because they had the red laser eyes come out.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, big reveal that under that is Ultraman. And it was like what's the Russian toys where like you take
Oh yeah,
like the
yeah.
layers, the
Yeah.
eggs, the layers off. So that's so yeah, the Hammer Bolivia, he takes that costume off because it's a big rouge that it's
Mm-hmm.
like a separate super villain out there. Takes that off, come to find out it's Ultraman under there. Then in the third act, that comes off and find out it's a Superman clone
Mm-hmm.
that Lex Luthor created by taking a hair strand off Superman that he found. I was like, wow, Superman 4? Like I love that's like that was like, oh my god, they're just taking a story beat out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But with that though, Ultraman for people in the comics, Ultraman, there is an Ultraman. It's on a different Earth where the Justice League are all villains, super villains, and they're called, I think, the Syndicate, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
So it is true that Ultraman is an evil Superman, but for this version, it's James Gunn's telling, he's just a clone of Superman. He's not Superman from a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, though. It's like James Gunn, I think, made a point to make this Superman a little depowered compared to other versions.
Mm-hmm.
That way, yes, he can take a beating a little bit. So you're rooting for him. He's like the
Mm-hmm.
underdog, and you want to see him overcome the odds or use his brain to win the fight
Mm-hmm.
here. But yeah, I was like, I wonder if he's getting his ass beat too much in this movie for my liking. But then again, he is Superman year 3. He it's early in his career, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully Superman by year 20 is just like such a stud, fighter, like no one
Yeah,
can stop
yeah.
him. So I figure he's still like a rookie in that
Sure,
sense.
sure.
But what do you think though? Ultraman, evil Superman, a clone of Superman, Lex Luthor just created. That's another thing. Like Lex Luthor's able to clone people too. Like he just had that
Right. It
technology
was
ready
just
to go.
convenient, I mean, like I'm like strand of hair. I remember one of the Superman movies. They had a strand of hair holding up a big weight,
Yeah.
and they
Mhm.
had to clamp it with, it's like
Mhm.
that creates weight. That creates, I don't know. Weight's about the only word I can think of, but a world that's so real. Like you're creating a world there that feels like it's lived in,
Mhm.
and a lot of this felt like CG, you know, like even when those buildings were dominoing over, I was like, I never got the sense of like, oh my God, look at that horrible thing that's happening. I never, I don't know, aside from some of the human moments with Superman and Lois. And again, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I laughed. I chuckled. I was like, okay, that was clever. I was engaged the whole time, even when it was crazy shit happening. But I never really felt that sense of wonder that Superman's supposed to elicit. You know, there was one moment that pissed me off. I was like, why did they do that? And it was at the end, Superman has this speech that he gives about being human. Wonderful moment, right? At first a little preachy. By the end of it, I was like, okay, nah, I'm in. That's Superman right there. And as I'm enjoying this moment, as I'm waiting to just take it in comes the fucking dog to do some wacky thing. And I'm just like, why would you undercut the most human Superman moment in the movie to do yet another crazy dog gag? You know?
Yeah.
Shit like that just drives me insane, you know?
Yeah, I was just gonna say with Lex Luthor, you're right. He's a stubborn brat who's like so petty, and like his mission in life now is just to stop Superman. Like he will expense no one else. He'll sacrifice whoever he needs to take out Superman. I guess early on I enjoyed that he said for the last 3 years he's been studying Superman. So he has like in his mind, he's come up with a strategic battle, how to fight Superman. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like he's using his brain to like, he's so obsessed with Superman. He's trying to figure out ways to take him out outside of just using kryptonite. He's like, I know how to fight Superman. If I had someone, even though I don't have his powers, I can create something like him that can fight him, and I can tell it how to fight. I guess that was cool. Like he's using his smarts to figure out how to take out Superman. What was the other thing from the intelligence level? I enjoyed seeing that part, but like you're right, the other things that were just too convenient. Of like, yeah, he has, you know, like I said, cloning abilities. But yeah, and he said, because he said he found Superman's hair a long time ago. I wish we could have saw a scene. Like, how did he get Superman's hair? Like, you know, that's pretty tough to do. Like, how would you be able to get a hair of Superman off? And there was like all this stuff that was just what happened. I mean, you're right. Like this movie did feel like a sequel, and it's almost like if you had like a previous movie, maybe there was a battle and like a piece of hair fell and like Lex Luthor like grabbed it, or so, I don't know, something to kind of set that up. Let's see. He also had the engineer working for him. That's someone from the comics who he made nanotech for. That was kind of cool seeing that, like, you know, a henchman.
That was a really good creepy scene when the nanotech started to like go down his throat and everything. And I was just like, I have no idea how we're going to get out of this.
That's cool. That's the thing. Superman, you know, he is at times does feel so powerful. Like, you know, how do you stop him? But I know in the comics and cartoons, like he magic, he's tough. It's hard for him to fight someone with magic. So that's something, you know, they didn't get into here, but I'm looking forward to seeing that in future movies. But also here, using nanotech to kind of like suffocate him from inside. Like, oh, that's interesting. That's something different. I guess let's see what else was there. I enjoy. Superman himself, his whole being, the reason he exists. You just brought it up, like he's having this speech about what it means to be human, and the whole point of this movie, I feel like James Gunn with this portrayal of Superman, he wanted to really establish what is Superman's values, who is he as a character, and I felt in some ways he was kind of beating into our heads, but I think he was doing that because of how much backlash Zack Snyder got for Man of Steel, and how a lot of people did not like that portrayal of Superman because it felt so different what they're used to. I felt like James Gunn was like, I'm trying to bring everyone back in, be like, this is the Superman you know and love. He's about doing good. He's about helping people. There's two things I want to talk about here: stopping the war and his parents from Krypton, because that's a big thing here. So we find out he stopped a war like 3 weeks ago between two countries, two makeup countries here. When Lois Lane's interviewing him, she's like, did you get permission from the president? Like, what I like about this is, for me, like growing up, when I see Superman in a cartoon, like he'll he sees something bad going on, he'll interfere, jump in, and stop it.
Mhm.
But you never think about the repercussions, the consequences for those actions. I enjoy how Lois brought that up. It's like
Yeah.
you just can't be going around policing the world without getting
Mhm.
permission from people. Like there are consequences for your actions here. What'd you think about that? Like,
I liked it. I liked it
justifying.
because I'm a Star Trek fan, and so the one thing I've come through Star Trek to understand and love about science fiction and fantasy is you can take on almost any topic, racism or geopolitical stuff, or what's immigrants. You could take on almost any topic by slapping a green skin on it and going, well, we're going to talk about this alien race. Sci-fi and fantasy allows you to talk about some real world shit and do it in a way where people aren't going to get offended. But of course, people are getting offended because they're like, oh, this is the woke Superman. It's like woke Star Trek. Where the hell have you been for the last 60 or 80 years? Not paying attention. Superman, all you have to do is go Superman political cartoons and Google that, and you'll see Superman 1 panels about talking about racism and war is bad. All this stuff going back to the 50s,
Yep.
So I liked it. I liked that we were getting some real world political stuff about social media, about billionaires overreaching, about how easy the government was to manipulate with money. I was like, ooh, boy, this is kind of a timely film.
Yep.
And whether it was set up, and it couldn't have been intended to be timely because we had a different administration. We weren't in 2025 when this movie was written. And yet 2025 has backed into that reality. And I was just like, whew, there's some commentary going on here, and I'm not mad at it,
No.
So, you're grounding Superman in a world that we live in. Yeah. And I think that there's something powerful about that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like David Cornsweet's portrayal of Superman here, I love that he keeps saying, I was sent here to do good. Like, I want to help people. Yeah, I'm an immigrant. I want to prove myself. Like, sure, I'm not human in your guys' eyes, but I love Earth. I'm from Kansas. Like, I grew up here. I want to be one of you guys. He is searching for so hard. He's obsessed with acceptance, and he wants to do the right thing to prove to people. And I love the part jumping ahead towards the end when he's talking to his, adoptive parents, his adoptive dad, saying, let your actions speak for you as a person. I'm paraphrasing here, but let your you want people's acceptance. Let your actions earn that from people.
Yeah.
And so that's his mindset. It's like, I need to keep doing good things to win people over. And that's his thing. He just wants to help people, make sure everyone's like peaceful and fighting for peace. And so when we find out early in the movie, he stopped this war from happening, or just one country trying to overthrow or take over another country. Like, that's him. He's like, no, what you guys are doing, that's bad. I'm going to stop this.
Well,
but
that
you're
was
right.
A great piece of writing, not to cut you off, but I mean, anytime you can go into a situation where you can look at the characters in the scene and agree with both of them, and understand why they are at odds. That's a great piece of writing. And so Lois was right, but he was right too.
Yes. Yeah. It's like Captain America Civil War.
Yeah.
Like the whole premise there. It's like the Avengers are torn in half. Half think like we should have the freedom to do what we want. We should not be being policed by the government. We're out there to protect people. We should be in charge of ourselves. And you get the other half, you're like, we've done some damage in previous, events. Like, maybe we do need someone to be in charge of us. And it's like that ideology clash. So that's why I enjoy that whole apartment scene where Lois interviewing Superman. It's like, you just can't go around, stick your nose in other people's business without some repercussions. And Superman's like, what? Like, I was doing the right thing. Shouldn't you be praising me? So I enjoy that. The battle of the ideology, that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Jumping ahead to, we see him at Fortress of Solitude. He has this one video of his parents from Krypton. Find out Bradley Cooper is his dad.
Yeah, that was funny.
But the big thing is this video for what was not damaged from the wreck when he came to Earth years ago. His parents say, hey, we're sending you to Earth, protect these people. And it gets all like, it gets scrambled, like messed up. Lex Luthor breaks in because he has Ultraman, a clone of Superman. So with that DNA, he's able to walk into the Fortress of Solitude. With his technology, he's able to recover the missing part of the video. His parents reveal, like, you should one day rule over them. You help them, you protect them, you save them, and then you're going to be their leader one day.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes like a whole thing. Like Superman finds out this, and Lex uses that as a way to get people against Superman. It's like, look, he's not your hero. He wants to take over you one day. Superman's like shocked and like, I'm sure angry, sad. It's like, no, like that's not what I stand for. That's not me. And that becomes a whole thing in the third act as well. So what are your thoughts on just that big reveal of Superman's parents?
I thought it was interesting. It wasn't the best piece of writing in the thing, and I think it's interesting that he was trying to turn the world against Superman. It did happen fast.
Yes.
But I do like that it activated this kind of existential crisis in the character, like I don't know who I am now. And that's always like always,
living a lie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What am I here to do for? Because like if that's what he's here to do, his heart's telling him something else. Head versus heart. I mean, it's cool. I do wonder, with a whole planet of metahumans with superpowers, why Superman is so important in this equation to piss that many people off. If he was the only superhero and everybody was looking at him as kind of a godlike figure because he was the only one, and then we hear, well, he's here to conquer us, that would land a little stronger, I think. Because, if a bunch of people have powers and a bunch of people can fly and a bunch of people can melt shit with their eyes, then why are we talking about that guy? To me, that was like, I get where you're going with this, and it makes sense for the character, but in a world full of magical people, it was hard for me to cross that bridge.
It might be almost like these other ones could like rally together and be like, hey, we're not afraid of you. Like we could take you down, get enough of us. We'll stop you.
And again, like you just look at real world now in 2025, you could take anybody's face and you could animate it in AI and you can have it say whatever. We didn't need a whole plot machination about them breaking into the Fortress of Solitude and stealing that and manipulating that. You could have created that in a different way,
So, well, let me ask you this. So I was still a little confused. Lex Luthor said he fixed the footage and got that in part of the message that Superman or his parents want Superman to take over the world. Was that Lex Luthor creating that? And
I think so. I think he manipulated that.
He manipulated, because we never get a clear answer if that was manipulated or was that truthful. So, okay. I hope that's something maybe they explore in sequels or whatnot. Like, but it seems like at the end, Superman, for the time being, is like, forget the Kryptonian parents or the message there. Yeah. And we see him laying down in the Fortress of Solitude, and he's having all these old footage of him growing up with his adoptive parents.
That was a nice touch, because when he got hurt at the beginning, just for context, when he got hurt at the beginning, they said, do you want us to run the video of your parents? And he said, yes. And that's when we see them, his Kryptonian parents. But at the end, after he's gone through this kind of personal, this is who I am, moment, they ask him the same question. And he says, yeah, that would be nice. And it's his Earth parents. And I thought, okay, that's super. That was super cool.
He's embracing his Earth side more now. Like that's his focus now. Let me see. Anything else? Any other major, I'm trying to think, points from this movie? Let's see. We had the battle. Let's see. With Ultraman. We talked about Ultraman. It just, those scenes are tough, because how many times we've seen superhero movies or TV shows where the superhero is fighting someone of like their equal. And sometimes that could come off. It just seems a little repetitive at times. Yeah, it's him fighting himself. So it's like, okay, it's just one big punch after another or kick. And it's like, okay, where's this going? Like it's almost like if someone had a different completely power, how the two are going to strategize. Like, okay, this person does this that I have trouble defeating. How can I stop this?
It was a bit of a come down, because once, and I can't think of the character's name, but once it's the gal with the nanotechnology,
the engineer,
right? So once she defeated him, seemingly, and I was like, man, because that was brutal. That's something I hadn't seen in a Superman movie or in one of these superhero movies before. the idea that, it was going to consume him from the inside out. Of course, Lex looking at the monitor going, yep, it's in his heart now. How the fuck would you know that? Like, how do you have heart monitors on Superman from miles away? How you didn't just get his hair, but but I liked the fight and I thought it was super interesting, and I felt a sense of like, ooh, I have no idea how this is going to end. And as soon as he got over that hurdle, then it was just them bashing each other, and it got a little boring.
Yeah. And I was hopeful that maybe we see Lex Luthor get his hands on Superman, like get him so beat down that he would start laying into him, punching him or something. We never got that.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned non-spoiler. This is one of the more evil versions of Lex Luthor. Case in point, he shot that guy in the head who was a fan of Superman, who gave him food one time. And so Lex's strategy is like, I'm going to find people that you're connected to and start hurting them or killing them to get what I want out of you. So I didn't think they were going to kill someone like that, but yeah, Lex cold-blooded just shot the guy in the head and right in front of Superman. That was interesting. Ultraman, we saw him. He gets sucked into the black hole, so that's how they got him, removed him. I wonder if he'll come back one day as like Bizarro. There's like Bizarro Superman, so I wonder if he'll come back at some point, all more damaged looking, beat up looking.
Can I just point out how awesome, I had to look up the actor's name, Anthony Carrigan is. He was the guy who was in the cell with Superman doing the kryptonite thing.
Oh, as a Element? Is it Element Man? Or
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah.
He was on, I didn't even realize he was the same actor who was on Barry. Have you ever seen it? Did you watch Barry?
No.
He played a Chechen gangster, and he just about stole the show from Bill Hader. He was so good.
Okay.
But he's so different in this. And
interesting.
And you want to talk about the heart of the movie. That dude was like in 3 scenes, and my heart was with him the whole time. You know? And I just thought, what a beautiful use of that guy, that character,
And his son, he's trying to save his son at the end of the day. Mr. Terrific, I did enjoy him as like, he's probably up there with Lex's intelligence level. So it's like, and he has his own set of tech. So it's cool. Like these two smart guys and their tech. I mean, Mr. Terrific used his tech to take out Lex's guys when they're trying to go into the interdimensional prison that they had there. So I think he's going to be a fun character moving forward for future use, what he can represent for the DC universe and stuff. We talked about Guy Gardner before, just funny. Nathan Fillion, always gets great roles with great. James Gunn.
He was hilarious.
Hot Girl, she was there, but she had a big screaming pitch at the end. Oh, the Justice Hall that they were staying at.
Yeah, that was a good touch.
Yeah, that's obviously they're gonna be the home of the Justice League at some point. Yeah. So it's cool, like the old cartoon, the building that they were in. So that was cool.
I was talking to my pal Steve Kirk, who's a huge Superman fan, and he did point out something that was interesting, that Lois made such a big deal at the beginning with Superman having just taken this political situation into his own hands. Nobody mentions the fact that at the end of the film, she just like kills the guy who runs the country, like throws him into the rift. And I'm like, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
The president of the country.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of comparison of Israel, Palestine, that whole thing right there. I did love when Superman turned himself in and Ultraman had him in cuffs and was walking with him. You look up in the top, it said Wade Street or whatever. Mark Wade is one of the Superman writers. So I thought that was a nice little touch. The little Easter eggs of the signs and street signs and stuff like that. That's always cool. But yeah, his parents, what we did get from that, it just shows, it was 2 farmer people, middle of nowhere, who just raised a good boy, and that's all he wants to do is just be a good person.
Did you notice they never got into him having powers as a kid? They never even brought that up. Like, those are just his parents. Like, even in the other origin stories, there's always some idea of like teenage Clark being able to kick the football farther than anybody, or the baby, kicking out the crib or something,
or lifting the car up.
Yeah. They never got into any of that. And I thought that was an interesting choice. I'm not saying it was good or bad. It's just, we don't need that. The one thing James Gunn said that I thought was actually really kind of funny and true. He said, did you catch the quote about the 3 things nobody needs to see in a superhero movie ever again? He says, we don't need to see Batman's parents getting killed in an alley with beads falling. We don't need to see Spider-Man getting bit by a radioactive spider. And we don't need to see Krypton exploding and Superman coming to Earth. He's like, we just know, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I do agree. And I do, to a certain extent, you know, respect James Gunn. Just like, this Superman, he's already doing his thing. Just jump in on this ride. Just I'm going to take you on this ride. Just enjoy it. You don't need to know the full backstory. There's plenty of ways to look that up. And I guess the other thing I was going to ask with, what was the one I was going to ask? Oh, I'm blanking now. Superman, you know, his parents just seem like good people. The Daily Planet, like I love the cast of the Daily Planet. As far as this seems like a great group of fun people, different personalities that could be really fun to work with moving forward. Jimmy Olsen, I like his role was great. Lois, it's gonna be interesting to see more of Lois and Clark, their relationship building together. I'm guessing, you know, maybe we get the wedding of Superman at some point in these movies. That might be a big thing.
I did love at the end when Perry says, how long they've been hooking up.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. You mentioned a non-spoiler, the glasses. So Superman reference or Guy Gardner referenced, you know, the glasses are hypnotic, which is James Gunn did say in an interview. Those are canon to the comics. I forgot what year it was, but I guess when Clark wears his glasses, people, it has like, you know, it can hypnotize people, or they can see people see him differently. They're like, oh, that's Superman. Some magic trick, brain trick there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. It was interesting. Lex, as far as just hungry for power, he just find out his big plan is he just wants to take over another country and start a whole.
That was an interesting kind of little homage, I think, to the first movie, because remember Otis Berg, and he wanted to, you know, make California fall off into the ocean, you know. So
that's right.
His land, you know. And so when I saw that on the map, I was like Lexville or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Or remember Superman Returns, that Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor, he wanted to start his own country,
right?
Or using the crystals. But the thing was, like, the land that he started creating, it was all like minerals, like there's no vegetation. Like, how can you live on this?
Right.
Like, you're not gonna be able to live off this new land that you're creating. It's just all crystals and minerals. Like, you can't have vegetables or fruits or grow anything or trees, plants for oxygen. Like, in hindsight, like, not the best plan, Lex.
I mean, I get we're talking about a fantastical universe, and so bringing common sense to that is, you know, but I think it has to make sense in its own, like, again, Guardians had its own logic, and I think if something as crazy as it is, as sci-fi and fantasy as it gets, comic book, whatever, if it just has its own internal logic, I think it works.
Yeah.
This movie mostly worked with that internal logic, you know?
Yeah. And then let's see, 2 post-credit scenes. So that's, both of them were just fillers. I mean,
I missed the second one because nature was calling.
Oh, yeah.
So,
all it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was Superman and Crypto on the moon on the first one. The second one,
but I'm like, I thought he gave Crypto back to Supergirl. Why are they sitting together on the moon?
And then the second one, it was like on the streets of Metropolis after the big fight, and it's him and Mr. Terrific looking at building with the crack and like staring at the crack of the building. I was like, that's it. Like, there was no, I think there was when they were trying to get people out of the evacuation, there was like a Gotham sign or something. I think I saw. But other than that, it didn't really introduce too many other. I think a lot of people were anticipating like there'll be a Batman reference or anything. I feel like they're holding off any Batman stuff because Matt Reeves just announced he finished the script for the Batman 2, but that's going to be like an Elseworld, non-DCU.
I like the Peacemaker.
Oh, John Cena showed up the Peacemaker. Yeah. That was awesome. Great cameo there too. So that's gonna be great for his show coming up in August, season 2 of that. Is there anything else, Dennis? Am I missing here?
I don't know. You said you're going to see it again on the big screen. I think I'll wait to see it here. My relationship with movies is interesting because if I like something or I love it, I can't really solidify how I feel about it unless I like it enough to watch the second time. And when I watch it the second time, the things that I like, I'm going to love. And the things that drive me friggin' insane, I'm going to hate. Because then it's doubling down. It's solidifying, you know?
Okay.
And I hope I watch this movie and go, okay, I'm in. I hope now knowing what I'm getting that I can go with it. Yeah, but a few things did surprise me, tonally. Okay. But, hey, I'm not going to change anybody's mind. I hope people like it. I hope it does well. I still think they spend too damn much money on these movies. And worse than anything else, I think that's the problem. Movies have to make $1 billion because you spent $300 on it and $200 to promote it. No, you don't have to do that.
I will say I'm a little disappointed in the toy action figure department. Like, this is the only one I see at the stores. I thought there'd be like a lot more different variety and options. So hopefully get some more action figures out there soon for this.
There you go. There you go.
Nice. At least a 3 foot one.
We should do this more often. This is fun.
Absolutely, Dennis. So thank you so much for making the time for this. Just like our last video, any place you want to encourage people to follow you for future stuff like this?
All our stuff is at soundwavestv.com or Soundwaves TV on social media. And if you like independent music, Soundwaves FM. And that's the other thing that's super cool about that show that I love is that if you're a recording artist and you're not quite signed to a big label, you could submit to us and be played on the show or the radio. And so we're always supporting local musicians, local artists, because we have to these days. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, especially now we got AI bands out there.
That's true.
I haven't had a chance to get your thoughts on that. We should save that for another time.
Yeah. Because I have thoughts.
I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter, Instagram at Baby Huey 83. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. If you listen to the audio version, also give it a 5 stars or whatever you do now. Hey, I'm sure whoever's listening to this, you've seen other podcasts and YouTubers and whatnot, to remind you all the things you got to do for the algorithm. So hey,
do all those things.
Do all those things, all the things. But thank you for spending some time with us. And leave a comment down below. What your thoughts on the Superman movie? What you like, what you didn't like, and love to keep the conversation going online. So on that note, let's go home and talk to you later. Bye-bye.